Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Today I'm reacting to Enlightenment 1.13, Neti with Circumstance. So there's going to be two videos in this coming out on the same day. So this one's, what is it? Not this, not that. Is that Neti? Then I think it's IT is everything is, I believe, which is the next video I'm going to do. So let's go ahead and get started on this. It's probably confusing.
Hey guys, welcome to lesson 13, Neti with Circumstances. Neti is an ancient Vedic practice that works by means of negation. In other words, Neti simply means not this, not that.
Yeah, okay.
So one of the very valid ways, one of the very direct ways to find your way into the truth of your being is not so much to try to find the truth of your being, although that's one way. We could call that the positive way, or the affirming way. But there is also the negating way, the way of negation, which means that you start to see everything that you are not. Everything that is not true. Everything that is not eternal. Everything that is not stable and changeless. Everything that is not what you really are. So by observing all these things that you have associated yourself with throughout the entirety of your life, by letting them pass onto the field of your consciousness, and also letting them go, letting them come and go, and seeing with each appearance and disappearance that since you are over here observing them, you cannot possibly be these things, not ultimately. You are the greater self, and these appearances are appearances of the greater self. They are, in a sense, extensions of the greater self. They are manifestations of presence energy, which is directly also your energy. However, it's not the truth of who you are. If we have to make that discernment, at least for now we have to make that discernment, until we come back all the way into Enlightenment 3, where we will collide the experiences with the experiencer and see that our true self and the experiences we experience are not at all separate. But for the...
Whoa, hold on. True self and the experiences we experience
are not at all separate.
True self and the experiences we experience are not at all separate. Okay. So when I started this journey, what you experience cannot be you. I believe Swami Sarva. Oh my gosh. I don't know why I can't draw his name. Swami J. I'll just call him that. He's the only Swami, not the only Swami. He's the main Swami I react to. He said that what you experience cannot be you. That's very interesting, because as I learn more about Brahman, the non-duality, obviously, but my understanding of Brahman says that what you experience is you, contradicting what he says. The only reason why I say that, I need to do the answering comments part 2, but because everything is Brahman, and if you are Brahman, this is Brahman. While a lot of people talk about Maya, so this world is my understanding of Maya so far, before I was first introduced to it, is that this reality is false. This is not true reality, because this is Maya. Brahman is the real reality, which is still everything. But as I think more about Maya and Brahman, that Maya is Brahman. Maya is not separate from Brahman, and Brahman is truth, pure consciousness, pure real reality, or pure reality. Based on everything I've learned so far, that I'm starting to conclude in terms of non-duality that I am the pen as well. That this is in fact real. This is not false. I know a lot of people are going to say no, that's probably going to say that no, that's wrong. But I do need to go in a deeper explanation. I do understand that, but just understand that's my positioning so far. As I read more comments, I'm starting to better and better understand Brahman. And the last video I did with Swami J is a definition of God, which is existence. I can't remember the second one, which is, I think, existence, and I think it's I'm terrible at remembering, but I know the idea is basically Brahman is everything. It is omnipresent. It is all, how do you say, all objects? It's everything, basically, all objects. It is existence, basically, and it is pure knowledge, pure consciousness. Yes. Everywhere, everything, and pure consciousness, pure knowledge. I do believe that's it. Let's go ahead and continue on. I went on a ramble there.
But for the purpose of initial discovery of our true self, it's very, very helpful to first clearly see that we are not the things we've assumed ourselves to be. Because if we are on this sort of so-called spiritual path, and we don't realize all these assumptions, we don't clearly see all the assumptions that we have about what we are, all these contractions, all these constrictions, then it's kind of challenging, it's kind of hard to clearly come to a direct realization and conviction of what is true, and to really feel liberated by that, to really feel clear in that. So in order to clarify the truth of who you are, in the next handful of lessons, you will be applying this Neti meditation, which I'll explain in this lesson, onto the different aspects of your experience, your human experience, so circumstances, emotions, thoughts, relationships, etc. And as you go through that process of doing the Neti meditation, of seeing, I am, so this appearance that I've assumed myself to be is not what I am. And then to hold on to the I am and to let go of the appearances over and over again is a very powerful way of actually confirming what you are by negating what you're not. And so this chapter 3, and especially the next handful of lessons, are kind of like a boot camp. They're kind of like practice-oriented, observation-oriented. They're kind of masculine in that sense, kind of yogic in nature. So it's all about just meditating on the idea that you are not what you perceive, but you are the perceiver, or you are the presence itself, but you're not so much the appearances that come and go. If you do follow through with these exercises in the next handful of lessons, I promise you, you will get a much clearer sense, a much more experiential sense of your independence. What do I mean by that? I mean that the I am is independent from the this, from the I am this.
Oh.
And when we see that the I am exists no matter what, exists no matter what this appears, no matter what appearances appear onto the field of presence, if we can really sort of identify with the presence of I am itself and let everything else come and go, it's a very powerful entrance point into getting to know our immortal, eternal nature.
So mind you, whenever I think about these things, I think in two terms, non-duality and duality. So I try to think in terms of duality and non-duality. I just repeated myself there. But because the reason why I think in non-duality is to understand it, to be able to try to explain it how I understand it, and hopefully get some feedback to see if I'm understanding correctly. I know a lot of people have been making a lot of comments about how the biggest thing to me is Brahman and Maya, and also our existence, which is part of Maya, which is part of Brahman. There is, I want to say, a big argument. It's not an argument. It's a debate, I guess, in the comments about that, and I do want to dig very deep into that, because what he's saying here about the separation between, in a sense, your physical self and your true self, Turiya, pure consciousness. But because of my understanding of Brahman, I would argue to say that there is no separation. You are who you are, truly you, including this body. Now, I know so far there's arguments that you are not the body, but I'll make the arguments for, and I want to hear counter arguments against it, because this is the only way I'm going to better understand it, is by spilling out what I think, how I think it works, and then hearing counter arguments for it. And so far, some of you guys have said some things, and it's just don't quite understand it, and then some people have said some things that are like, I can better understand it. So it's helping me a lot, trust me on that. So in terms of this argument so far, that I understand, before I started thinking deeply about Maya and Brahman, the knowledge that I obtained from watching his videos is that the fact that you are not this body, you are not this object, you're a Brahman, you're pure consciousness. You're not your thoughts, you're not your body, you're not any part of this, including your thoughts, mind you. But as I think about more, I would argue that you are all of this. But I will discuss that at a different time. Not now. Not now.
And so these practices will have you actually sit down and perform this meditation. And so I really encourage you to take your time and to actually go through the motions of this type of practice. So these handful of lessons, again, are more meditation-oriented rather than recognition-oriented, where recognition is that momentary, everyday recognition of what is true, which obviously you can continue to do. But the purpose of these lessons is to really take some time out of your day and to meditate on this, to repeatedly recognize within a set duration of time this truth that you are, I am, and that the appearances simply come and go, and that they do not actually define your I am, that your I am exists independent of these appearances. And when you see that, everything else will become so much easier. And also, usually I don't give many meditations like that, but so it's really important at this stage, I feel, that you give that a try anyway. Like later on, you can ditch it completely. You can never ever return to this particular lesson, to this particular practice, because it's a little more, like I said, masculine or hardcore in nature, more like a spiritual seeker would exercise. Nevertheless, I think that for everyone, regardless of your background and intention, it's highly valuable to have at least experienced some degree of that sort of yogic composure, where you actually sit down and you force yourself to meditate on something, to clearly realize something. I think this attitude will allow you to discover certain things about yourself and cultivate qualities that otherwise would not be as much cultivated. And they will actually serve you throughout the future courses and lessons, even though maybe this is not something that you wish to continue to do for a very long period of time. So make use of this opportunity now, while I guide you, while I take you by the hand, because you know probably it's unlikely, maybe not, but it might be unlikely, that you personally, out of your own volition, return to this and continue.
I'm sorry, I'm smiling just because that long period of speech that he did was basically saying the same thing over and again, and I'm sure I do it all the time. So I can't blame the dude. I do it too. just talking in circles here.
To practice in this way. So take the next couple of weeks to really, really allow me to take you by the hand with these meditations and just do them. That is my heartfelt recommendation. And just know in advance that the future lessons and future courses will be more mellow, they'll be more balanced, they'll be more recognition oriented. But for now, try this out, see if it works.
Okay, I thought it was going to go into it in this video, but I guess it's a different video. Now, mind you, if you make suggestion of meditation, I don't think I can really react to those things, just because I think those videos are more watch and do than watch and react. And if there's any meditation, you can recommend it, but it'll be something that I'll do outside of reacting to. So okay, so again, I want to make an argument for the fact that we are this body, that we are not separate from this body. I wonder how many people will say that now, only because when I first started this journey, it seemed like to me that everything here is, in a sense, false. That you are not this body, you are not your thoughts, you're not your emotions. You are this pure consciousness, unaffected by the body, the mind, and the emotions. Body, mind, heart, you could say. Heart being the emotions, mind being the thoughts, and the body being the physical body. Because, you know, you're not the finger, you're not the nail, you're not the arm, you're not the legs. Let's just go with that one. But I want to make an argument for so far as again, as I thought and watched, that you are that. That's going to be, I know it's going to be a difficult climb, But based on the things that I've learned thus far, I do want to make that argument. Okay, that's it for this video. I just wanted to throw that in there. Enlightenment 1.13 Neti with circumstances. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. Thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.